Oh, 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 all those cases. All those cases. All those cases. Oh, those cases too. Alright, I know we spent way too much time in the garage, the closet, the living room, and you guys don't care. You want to see what's behind here. Well, welcome to Pat's Game Room. So yeah, this is where it all happens. This is the game room. You know, nothing out of the ordinary. Just a bunch of stuff. You know, average size collection I got going on. Where to begin? Let's start with the actual consoles that I actually have set up here to play. Now, I've got a lot of consoles. Very hard to pick what consoles I want in my game room. Of course, you got to go with the NES. You got to have the NES. You got to have the Super NES. And you gotta have the N64, much to my chagrin. Now, after that it gets a little bit tougher. You got your PlayStation Slim, and since it's backwards compatible, it plays PlayStation 1 games. So, 2 for 1. You need to conserve space. Big fan of the Sega Dreamcast. So I got the Sega Dreamcast there. That's a must-have for me. This is where it gets trickier now. It's a little bit more trickier. Underneath, you got the ColecoVision. No 2600, but Pat, why don't you have 2600? It's such a classic. This is the 2600. This is the ColecoVision's Module 1, and it plays Atari games. So really, you get 2 systems in one right here. So it's a good compromise. And this fits under here. You know, the AC adapter is bigger than my head. That fits there. Ah. Get in there, ColecoVision. You're killing me. Next, you got a 3-in-1 deal. Because you have your Sega Genesis Model 1, Sega CD, and then you can get the power-based converter, which is in the closet, plug it in there, and play Sega Master System games. So this is 3 systems in one. So you gotta go for that. I actually used to have a JVC XI too, but I figured, you know, why decide which one of those to play? It's kind of like deciding whether you should beat yourself in the head with a baseball bat or a tire iron. Last but not least, is a scratched up but works fine Turbo Duo. And the Turbo Duo came out a few years after the Turbografx 16, and it is a Turbografx 16 Hue card and Turbografx CD all in one. Wow. That's the main cabinet. Now it runs on a computer. Here's a little pillow star that's so made for me. It's very nice. And it's a 4-player, custom made. I designed this myself. I designed the layout. You got 4 players. You got Neo Geo 4-button layout. You have a 6-button layout. You have a trackball. You have an Arkanoid spinner. What are you doing to that, Mr. Star? You have a trackball spinner for games like Breakout or Arkanoid. You also have the 5-button Asteroids layout right here. This might go in the future. I might have to sell this for a pinball machine. I want to get a pinball machine. So, but it served its time well. I built it in New Jersey. I wired this myself. So, main cabinet. Sad Pat might go. Shelves of game stuff. Okay, we have the tabletop games right up here first. We have a Donkey Kong. We got a Pac-Man going on here. We got a Miss Pac-Man, a Galaxian, and a Hubert. And behind it is, wow, Turbografx 16 stuff. I, for the life of me, can't remember, and I'm being totally honest, if both of those have systems in them or not, or if one's just empty. I really don't know. I don't know why I have to. Why do I have that? So yeah, I guess it's the swap meet. Nothing to say really. You see these all the time, but you don't really see them in the box. They hold your, you know, this one holds, what is that? I can't count. 18 cartridges. That's a nice round number, 18, right? Next to it is a swap meet find, a tabletop Game & Watch. These are hard to find. Here's a Snoopy one. Yay, Snoopy. Doesn't have the battery case though, so it's worthless. No, it's fine. These came out in like the late 80s, early 90s. Nintendo didn't put out these themselves, but other companies would put out VHS, you know, How to Win At, or we got Castlevania 2, Thundercade. Thundercade? Really, no one had Thundercade. Strider, POW, Ninja Gaiden, Bad Dudes, Amagon, Mega Man 2. They were just, you know, video tip cassettes. You know, nowadays you have YouTube and you have, you know, walkthroughs. Back then you didn't. You had VHS tapes. You got a Pac-Man 2 handheld game. This is a fun one. This is a 2-player one, so it's really fun. Oh, cool stuff. Turbografx stuff. Oh man, here's my loose Turbografx with the Turbo Tuner. Yeah, if you don't watch TV, listen to the radio, you could. Now, Turbografx, as you know, play the actual Turbografx 16 games. We have a turbo cable. I just love Turbografx 16, obviously. It's just the extension cable, but it's in the package. You're not going to find it in the package. No one wants it in the package, but here's a box Turbografx. And I believe, yeah, I both got them soldered the sound chips in because the sound would usually go. So it's a Turbografx box. Box a little beat up, but whatever. And then you have a Turbografx car adapter in the box if you want to play it on the go. It probably would kill your car battery. And we have some boxed Turbografx stuff again. We have the Turbo Stick, which was the only official Turbografx joystick controller. There were a few other joysticks that came out for Turbografx 16. You had Quick Shot made one, you had a couple others, but here's the Turbo Stick, basically like the Advantage. But they didn't get sued like America did. And you have a Turbo Tap, which was the adapter if you want to play 2 to 5 players. And then the Turbo Link, look at this little guy. This was for the Turbografx if you want to play 2 players and link it up. There's a Nintendo coloring book. What? Really? Oh, cool. What do we got here? Oh, here's a Super Scope box complete. This is fun. This was a flea market find. That's cool. Behind it, oh, it's like a boombox. We had a Super Nintendo control deck. This is a Super Nintendo 2, the mini one. That's in the box complete. And next to it, I have it loose as well. We have the fighter stick by ASCII. We have a boxed Camerico Supersonic. So after they got sued, you know, they come out with this one, which is like a triangle. So it looks like a UFO. So it looks actually different than the Advantage, and it's ambidextrous. Lefty or righties can use it because buttons are on both sides. That's really cool. How about a boxed Game Gear? Why do I have this? I'm not a Game Gear fan at all, you know, but probably a swap meet fine for $10 or so. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. Let's see, we got some Game Boy stuff. How about the Game Boy Solar Pack? You want to be on the beach and power your Game Boy? Well, here you go. You have a probably really poorly working 20-year-old Nokia solar power for your Game Boy. Probably was not that efficient. You want Game Boy Advances? You got Game Boy Advances. Ah! Game Boy Advance SP. Red in the box. You got that going on for you. Here's the, this is a cool one because they emulated how an original NES looked in the gamepad. It's a classic NES Limited Edition SP. And we have a Game Boy Micro, which to some, some people prefer this, some people prefer the SP. It's really up to you what your preference is, and this was basically new, not used when I got this in New Jersey, probably like $15. This is a silver one. And behind it is something I always forget I have, is a boxed Sega Nomad. Now the Nomad, it was a portable Genesis system. You used the Genesis games. These are pretty coveted nowadays. Not a lot of people had these. They were really expensive when they came out. Well, we got some boxed N64 games here. Oh, Killer Instinct Killer Cut CDs. Why do I have 4 of them? I don't know. These came with the Killer Instinct game when it came out. It was all the tracks. And these are actually really fun songs, from the arcade. I have Castlevania games. I have Killer Instinct Gold box. I have Perfect Dark sealed. I got 2 of them? What? I got Banjo-Kazooie complete in the box there. Mario Kart 64, Super Mario 64. I got Ocarina of Time. Game of the Year edition. This is a Japanese baseball game. I'm not sure where I got this from, but it's interesting. You have some big head guys. Almost looks like a Nintendo Wii baseball game. Wow. Here's a Super Famicom game. Here's Final Fight Guide. Now, this was, at least in the US, it was a rental only. In Japan, I'm not sure. I think they probably came out with this. And what they did was they swapped out Cody for Guy. Because in the arcade, you had Guy, Cody, and Hagar. I couldn't fit it in originally on the Super Nintendo, which always pissed me off because the guy was my favorite character. Next to it, we have a N64 cleaning kit, which no one cares about. We have a boxed Mega controller. Killer cuts. I showed you this before, or I didn't, depending on how I edit this. This is a Mega controller. It's programmable. It was on the NES. Underneath is a Acclaim remote controller box. Then you have something that's very strange I've never even found before, or after, or before or since. It is a Turbo Stick by Froggo. Don't know anything about this at all, but it's Froggo Games. That's a cute little logo on there. And it's just a controller with turbo on it. And I don't know where I got this, I forget, but I've never seen one before or since. Who wants to 10 power pins? It's a joystick docking bay. Unbubble wrapped for the first time since I moved from New Jersey. This is really sad. I know. It's not really its own controller. You put the Nintendo controller inside and it basically just hits the buttons. It activates the buttons. It's so cheap. So fun. I love it. This is interesting now. You all have heard of a Game Genie, right? But you probably think that Game Genie was Galoob, and you're right. But before it was put out by Galoob, there were some that were released by Camerica. And the ratio of Camerica to Galoob ones is probably something like 10 to 1. These are very hard to find, these versions, and especially in the box. And I didn't know that when I bought this. This is basically brand new. And so yeah, it's the Camerica version of the Game Genie. And I'm going to brag about it to the 5 people that care. Haha, I have the Camerica version and you don't. Here's some interesting NES. This is basically the NES Zapper section right here. Or non-Zapper. Non-Zapper Zapper section. Yeah. Shooting section NES. Yep. So we got the box Konami laser scope here. I actually have a loose one too. And this was, you know, this is where you said fire, bang, and shot. Bang! Bang! Collection video. Here's the video shooter. This was interesting because it was an infrared. It's an infrared zapper. Also wireless. Now I'm not sure, I'm not positive, but I'm almost positive that you would be able to use this on an LCD TV. I'm not positive because you can't use a regular zapper on an LCD TV, so I'm not sure. There's a chance though, but if you can't use that one, you should be able to definitely use this one. The Pro Beam. Oh my god, it's like Christmas. I'm unwrapping it. Well, I just thought of Valley Girl when I said that. This is by a company called Nexoff, which was a more esoteric Nintendo peripheral company. So this, again, this is a wireless one. It's infrared. And they also came out with the Dominator. I do not have the Dominator. It's like a hardcore controller. You want to play Wild Gunman? Well, now you got the Video Blaster. Yeehaw! We have some miscellaneous. There's a cute little Donkey Kong guy. This is a variation you don't see too often. Ooh, I can hang it in my car. I should do that. Alright, we got here. It's on a lunchbox. This is a Super Pro Fighter. This is a backup system for a Super Nintendo. And it has a disk drive on here. So what you do is you create ROMs from your Super Nintendo game. Except I don't have the actual adapter to hook it up to my Super Nintendo. That was at a flea market in New Jersey years back, and so it's interesting, but... Next up we have Super Mario Brothers, 1.5, and wow, an old metal Pac-Man one. Why is this not in the garage? It's my favorite sign in existence. It's fiber optic. It's like 2-3 different patterns it does. It's beautiful. It's so nice. It turns like on a wheel inside, like it's encoded, the fiber opticness thing. Here is a specialized fighter pad by ASCII. I've never seen one of these before. Chrono Trigger, this is complete, it has the map, it has everything in it. The only unlicensed game on the Super Nintendo. And down where they belong are the N64 games. The Zippo case I got at the flea market fits Game Boy games perfectly. Here's the first system I had as a kid, which was not the Nintendo. In here we have 3 Power Gloves. These are my Turbografx 16 games. This is my second favorite system, so I love the Turbografx 16. Oh, okay, it's not ending. It's not ending. Oh.